Hello, Jamie back from Inky&Scrappy with my, we're going to do a comparison today. I got this marker pad from Amazon, super cheap. It's an off-brand one. And the Ohuhu, the new Ohuhu marker pad, which I like because it doesn't go through. I did get to play with this one and I had some issues with it, so I thought maybe I should do a comparison. I haven't actually stamped on the Ohuhu one yet to see if it does the same thing or if it's a little bit different. Kind of give you, you know, which one's gonna work better for stamping and coloring. This one, I will say it colored well with, it still went through with like a heavy layer. It did not dry with ink very well. So this one is also, if you look at, this is the Ohuhu one. This is the cheaper one on Amazon. And if we pull in, because I'm always on top of everything, I was just gonna grab a piece of course it's like stuck in the corner. Okay, the Express It cardstock, which is my favorite to color on. So you can see it's, this one is definitely a whiter white. This one is more of a gray white, and this one kind of has a, I don't know, kind of like a yellow tone to it. When you go this way, this one looks way yellower. This one looks way grayer, but you know, they're all white. Okay, so let's ink one up. So this one is the cheaper Amazon one. It's not Amazon. I have to look it up for you. But this one was like $6, I think, or under, for this 8.3 by 8.9 inch, 30 sheets. It is heavier weight than the Ohuhu one. If you look at your GSMs, it's 200 GSMs or GMs. So this one's a little bit heavier. I think for one-sided coloring, it probably would work well. The Ohuhu one, I don't know if you can see this one on camera, is 150 GMs. So it's a little bit lighter. It's probably, as I say, this one's the Express It. I would say the Express It is similar in weight to this one. I've heard that Express It you can't get anymore, which I've noticed that it's hard to find, so I don't know if that's going to be a permanent problem or just a short-term problem. I have a couple of reams of Express It, so I don't think I'll run out anytime soon, but I like to see what other options are out there. I tend to share with my niece and go from there. So the Ohuhu one, this one is the big one. This is the 9 by 12. I want to say this one has what? It doesn't say how many sheets are, 60 sheets in there. Price wise, this one was probably better per square inch than the other one was. But I think this one was like 17 or 19. Maybe it was 27. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look for that one. I got it from Ohuhu site, not Amazon. So you can easily compare. I think the Amazon site had the Ohuhu one and the off-brand one were a couple of dollars apart. All right, I need the stamp platform that I just had in my hand, and I think we're gonna do red rubber on this one. Resting beach face. I think we're just gonna do that one on there. Just because it's gonna give me a good impression, and I don't have to worry about not having a good impression. We'll see about coloring though. This one might have, well, I guess it'll tell us if it lets the ink dry or not. So I'm going to start with the Express It, which we know works well. I'm going to use the Lisa Horton Crafts Cloud 9 Solid Black, which this has been, it's not as dark as some of the other ones, but it has been the one I've been reaching to for stamping and then coloring right away because it seems to dry faster than the other ones. So that is, you know, that one. Let's go with the Ohuhu one. That one looks like it's stamped well. I can tell that it's wet, so I'm not going to touch it yet. And we're going to hope that it dries. it doesn't look like the whole thing's wet, just certain parts are wet. And then of course the Amazon one. It's not really Amazon, I just don't know the brand off the top of my head. I will list them and link them down below if you are interested. And then this one. So this one's stamped good, but this one is definitely wet yet. And so if we did a smear test, this one would definitely smear. How do I know? Because I had that happen to me on my video yesterday or the day before. So I'm just gonna do a double stamp, but you can see that it's definitely smear worthy. And so just keep that in mind. It takes a long time to dry on this one. So heat set. I think we can heat set. This one looks like it's dry except for down here. We'll try here. So it's not smearing up above, which I like that. Down here, I think it's gonna smear yet. So I'm not gonna, well, I'll go. Yeah, you can tell where it's still wet. It's definitely gonna smear. So just, I mean, that's with any ink though. But it did dry. The rest of it dried fairly quickly. I can still see a little bit of wet ink spots. And the same on here. I can still see a couple of little wet spots. So I'll let it dry just a little bit. So then when we come to, this one is still uber wet. Let's try the heat setting. So I just did the top part of this one to heat set just to see if it made a difference on the rest. This one I tried to heat set the whole thing. Now you will see that the ink on this one really dimmed. It really turned it more of a light gray instead of, it's still wet down here so you can see that it's black still. But this one definitely gives it more of a gray feel than a black feel, which you can definitely tell between those two that they still are black. So I will say that's a disadvantage to this one for sure. Dry time, and of course making that ink look a lot less black. I like crisp black lines for the most part, so I'm gonna come in with my mellow yellow and lemon. So these ones are, in the new ones, melon yellow and corn yellow, so Y29 and Y28 in the new number systems with the Ohuhus. And let's go. I'm just gonna come in here, add some color to this one. Kind of going for where I would think maybe shadow would be, as I normally color. And then of course coming in with the lighter tone and then going over the darker tone and then filling in the rest. And then to test the tip, I'm going to clean it out over here. It doesn't look like it's smeared. This is on the Express It cardstock, which is kind of what I expected from the Express It. This one is the Ohuhu marker paper. same coloring. Well, okay, not exactly the same, just similar. Hitting it with that darker shade first. And then coming in with that lighter shade and going over the whole area. And again, cleaning out that tip. It did have a little bit of color smear on this one. Not a whole lot though. It looks just a teeny tiny bit when we first started out. It picked up a little bit of that ink. This one is the one I'm worried about. We'll see how this one does. Now this one kind of has, can I say it makes it look funny? I don't know how to, it kind of gives it a glossy look where that ink touches the other ink, or my marker ink touches the paper. It kind of gives it a glossy sheen to it, which I don't particularly care for. And then we'll come in with that lighter one again. And then we'll clean the tip out. So even with the heat setting, this one still kind of had a little bit of ink pickup. Not a whole lot. I think it's okay, aside from my coloring and smearing. But it gives, where the alcohol marker goes over that stamped ink, it kind of gives it a glossy sheen. I don't know if you can see that there, but it definitely has a glossier look to it. And I don't know if that's just because it doesn't soak in. I think there's got to be like a plasticky underline on this one. And you can still see that it's still wet over here where I didn't hit it very hard with the heat setting. So keep that in mind. This one's going to take a long time to set. This one I think colored fairly similar to the Express It in dry time. It took a little bit longer to dry, but it's really not, you know, like minutes, right? Not, I think I did the other day and it was like a half hour. I came back and it was finally dry. So just keep that in mind. And then it smeared ridiculously. So just keep that in mind if that's something you're looking at. I would suggest the Ohuhu over the one from Amazon, just because dry time, it keeps your black ink blacker, and quality wise I think it's not as thick, but I think it's going to give you the results that you're going to like a little bit better. Color saturation, I like it. I feel like this one almost doesn't affect the marker color as much. I'm trying to think if I have a good blend here that we can try. We could go this one and this one. Let's go with BG 215 and BG 212 and see if we can get some good color saturation. I might even come in with a third tone here. And then we'll come in with the middle one here. Let's bring in, I think there's a BG 11. So BG 211. And we'll put that one on there. And we'll do the same thing with the other one. And we'll see color-wise if we get a really good blend. or if it's a change in shade, I guess. It's kind of what I'm looking for. How much it keeps your color true to the actual colors. And the lightest one. So looking at them that way, this one definitely has a darker tone to it than that one. So if you like the deeper, richer colors, I definitely say the Ohuhu one kind of has a better color saturation with it. This one seems to be a little bit lighter, and maybe it's because of the gray undertone in the paper, which definitely is going to have an effect on it if you color. You know that your paper, like your ink sample, should be done on the paper that you're going to color on the most, just because it's going to give you a different color depending on the paper. 100%. This one looks really light. We can do this one too. So this is the darkest color shade, and it definitely looks way more like the middle shade that I have going on, as opposed to the darkest shade that I have going on. And this one is the BGO oven, so we'll go over the top. So if you look at them in that respect, right, definitely some different color variations in that one, like a lot. So keep that in mind. I probably wouldn't go with this one again. I'm hoping this one does some ink blending well. That's what my hope is with the stuff that I have. Villainous Potion. Let's go Villainous Potion, which is going to be really dark. And that's Prize Ribbon I want. Well, I can do Prize Ribbon, I guess. Yeah, it'll be dark. Okay. So I'm just going to ink blend on this piece. I liked ink blending on my old Ohuhu paper, so I wonder if it'll ink blend, because I didn't like markering on my old Ohuhu paper, but I loved ink blending on it. That is my blue, this is my purple. So I've got a stencil here. Let's throw in the stencil. So I just want to do a small portion here. Just me trying to hold the stencil in place and pick up ink at the same time. I do like how it ink blends on this one, so keep that in mind. Let's do a spritz. Where are... Oh, here we did. Up here. Okay. Just me, not finding anything. Okay, so I'm just going to come in and do... I'm trying to get some bigger drops on here. There we go. So we're going to let this one dry. This is that cheaper Amazon one. Now let's do the same thing on this side. I'm going to load my blue brush this time instead of trying to do it with one hand while I'm holding the stencil. Shh. I do learn from my mistakes once in a while. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one in the corner again with that purple. Then we're going to come in with the blue. I feel like the other one had a higher concentration of color, or it felt like it color a little bit easier, but we'll see. Oh, well, here we go. Yeah, I did big blobs instead of the nice little misties, but it's all good. I have a feeling that one's going to run a little bit more. So here's that first one. It does ink blend really well. It reacts with the water on top, with the other medium that's added on top, fairly well. Dry time, I mean, it's probably going to take a little bit to dry, but I expect most of them to. So I will probably use this one for some mixed media type stuff. I think because it's got like that plasticky core, I think it's not gonna soak up the water and it's gonna let you play with maybe liquid mediums a little bit more. That's what I'm hoping that one will work well with. And then this one, granted, I sprayed it really heavy. So if you look at the color comparison on that one, I think the cheap one gives you a much better concentration of color. It doesn't, I don't know, I feel it sits on top a little bit better on that one. This one, granted, I put way too much, but it's also gonna let it run a little bit more. So maybe, because it's supposed to be a bleed proof, maybe liquid mediums would be really good on this one. Doing like the smooshing techniques on this one, or even the spray stains on this, might prove to be a little bit of fun. It might take longer to dry. We'll see how it, you know, comes together in the grand scheme of things, and I will pop both of those up onto the end of this one. But color wise, if you're looking just for the coloring comparison, this is the Express It. So this was, I guess, our, I don't want to say staple, but our control. This is what I normally use. So color, kind of true to color a little bit more than this one for sure. This one definitely gives it a lighter, which surprised me. I almost expected it to be darker on this one, but it gives it a lighter color than the ink actually is. This one I feel maybe a little bit darker on that one, but it kept the black ink black. This one made the black ink kind of a dingier gray, and so, and it takes forever. Yeah, it's still wet. So 23 minutes later, it's still wet. So that kind of, just keeping that in mind, I do like this one for ink blending on, so that's probably what I'll end up using it with, is just ink blending. And then of course this one kind of had, it allowed it to run a little bit more. I was a little heavier handed on my spray, so but those are the comparisons. I figured I'd share this one with you since I bought it, thought it would work, and it didn't really work for what I wanted it. So anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Keep getting inky. Bye. I did save you the me playing with liquids on it. It doesn't dry very fast. It works. This one I added Distress Microglaze over the top to get the chalky color away. It's okay. I would definitely say it does take a long time to dry. This one is the Ohuhu one, and it's still, I didn't add water after I added splatter, and so some of that is still wet. I did these yesterday, so keep that in mind if you are looking at doing them that way. I mean, both of them worked okay. I wouldn't not do it on there because A, it didn't go through, so if that helps. I'm pretty sure there's like a plastic layer in the middle, but it worked okay. I probably would go more for the ink blended Distress look to it as opposed to the wet medium, but options. So anyways, I hope that helps you.